Swiggy becomes the first food delivery aggregator to set up over 1,000 cloud kitchens for its restaurant partners in India, plans to aggressively expand its partner cloud kitchens into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Uber launches its driver rewards program Uber Plus that enables driver partners to earn points for rides. What can they get with these points? Well, free doctor consultations, concessions on education modules, access to microloans and faster airport pickups. Government may soon set up a dedicated cell for agricultural startups and small enterprises. The platform will ensure different technologies are uploaded and shared with the public. Co-working platform MyHQ raises $1.5 million from India Quotient to fund its expansion plans. It offers workspaces at over 120 locations in Delhi NCR. Gurugram-based online travel marketplace Travel Triangle raises $13 million in its Series C round of funding. South Korea's KB Global Platform Fund and the Fundamental Partnership Fund also participated in this round. The money will be used for expansion, brand building and technology development.
Well, those were the headlines that we are tracking for you today. Today we check into the Bangalore Tech Summit, where I caught up with Sachin Bansal on his new innings in the world of finance and Menon of Big Basket on why the hyper-local delivery startup space is seeing consolidation. Here's a look.
Yeah, there are some large problems to be solved in India. I think finance is one area where we are seeing interesting startups coming up, and in fact we are building our own company in the finance space. And I see their potential of new large businesses being created. And apart from that, I see healthcare is one area where so far technology hasn't disrupted or touched the healthcare sector as much as it can. So that is one other area that I'm looking at. Another, I think e-commerce still has a lot of potential. You will see more companies coming out of e-commerce, but I think I do hope that other sectors like transportation, etc., do create more companies.
But you have shifted your focus to finance now. You, of course, CEO of Chaitanya Rural Finance. What is it about this sector that compelled you to jump into this, and what exactly will you be doing now with Chaitanya, which is a rural NBFC?
Sure. So I think largely what you are seeing is that there is a huge amount of under-penetration in the sector. Whether it's credit to GDP ratio is very low, insurance penetration in India is very low. We see all kinds of financial services we can give access to a lot more people to these financial services than today what is being possible. And I don't see that happening today by existing players as much. And I feel that the costs have to come down, or cost of operations has to come down as well. And I believe that technology can be applied to solve some of these big problems, and that's pretty exciting.
But what attracted you to Chaitanya in the first place?
Chaitanya has a great, it's a 10-year-old company. It has a great track record. It has a target segment which is very interesting. They target lower income rural customers, which we believe over time will transition into becoming middle class in the next 5 to 10 years. It's a very long-term project for me, and I believe microfinance itself as an industry will continue to be very, very relevant for the next few decades. So all of that put together, it became very interesting for us.
And you continue to back startups yourself as well. In fact, through Navi as well, you just put in more than 800 crores. What are the sectors you're looking at? Again, will it be finance, or will it be across sectors that you will be backing companies?
Right now, my focus is completely on finance.
Completely on finance. So Navi will focus on
finance only.
Finance. But of course, you've backed startups in the mobility space as well. You're very bullish on that space, even EVs. So will that sector also see a lot of funding from Navi?
Yeah, I mean, I think not from Navi maybe, but from personal, I've done that in the past. But I think transportation is another sector which I believe will create many unicorns in the future.
In this space, in the whole hyper-local space, I think we're going to see a lot of consolidation that's already happening. How is Big Basket looking at it? Are you looking at it, like opportunistically, saying that you can look at some acquisitions here, or how will this play out for the whole hyperlocal sector?
Sure. We've already we started the business, which is the milk business, with 2 acquisitions, right? So that's how we started, so that we got some scale right away. That business is all about getting scale quickly. I think one of the things that's really critical and important in that business is that what is critical in that piece is non-milk, actually. So if you ever want to make money in that business, then you have to scale the non-milk piece, because if you run that business only on milk, you'll never make money. And hence, building the deep supply chain on the non-milk side is so critical. And what I sense is that that's probably not available with a lot of players. So if you end up buying from somebody and supplying it, you won't make the margins. Quality suffers and a whole lot of issues come up. So I think that's the game changer. And we realized that we should get into it after we've done all of it, right? So we waited for a long time to get into that space, and then we got into it. We made 2 acquisitions just for scale. Going forward, I'm not sure whether we would need to, etc. But we'll keep evaluating, opportunities as they come.
There are reports, of course, of Daily Ninja, and so any comments on that, though?
I heard so too.
Okay, but we're going to see consolidation in this sector. It's a brutal sector. But Big Basket, you said, is on the path to profitability. You've said that before as well. How soon again? And, is that what a lot of startups are all looking at, profitability?
Yeah, in the next few months. By the middle of next year, we are completely focused on making sure that all our tier 1 cities become operationally profitable. We are absolutely on the mark there. And that's, pretty much 80-85% of our business, right? And once that happens, then all we have left is the tier 2 cities, which came much later, and essentially BB Daily and BB Instant, so which will give them some time to kind of turn around. So that we are focused. We've changed our model. We're delivering much faster now, and the faster delivery has actually resulted in unit economics getting better. So by middle of next year, you'll see some nice, great announcements.
Okay, waiting for that. Hari, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Thanks. I also caught up with the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka to ask him about the state's new initiatives to soon give a few years of exemption to startups from existing regulations so that they can build on the innovations.
See, basically, for the innovation to thrive and prosper and grow, there are a lot of regulatory challenges and mechanisms were coming in the way. As the society was looking at some kind of protectionism, and the industry was looking at the innovation, trying to address the challenges they have been facing in the society to come out with a solution. So this kind of restriction in the law was prohibiting the innovation industry to come out with a lot of solution. So address the condition, address their challenges. And earlier they used to do in a closed room and a very limited space, they were able to do all the kind of innovation. So fully understanding the challenges the innovation industry was facing, we came out with there was a lot of suggestion from all the stakeholders of the innovation industry, startups, to provide the Karnataka Innovation Authority, which is going to be the solution to address the challenges the innovation industry has been facing.
So essentially the authority will be able to relax some regulations or clear some grey areas around which startups operate?
Yeah, basically in a controlled system where there will be a lot of monitoring, and they need to place the request for the exemption from the existing law, so that the relaxation in the existing law will allow them to try or pilot some of the projects in the public domain, which will be monitored. And the interest of the society will also be protected. Is over the time, with the trial runs, the exemption being given for 1 to 2 years. If the product is very successful, the Innovation Authority will recognize that the importance of the innovation, and accepting that innovation will be adopted in the system and the society, and further relaxation or the permanent amendments in the laws can be brought in, so that this can be accommodated or integrated with the regular system, so that becomes the biggest solution.
The unicorns of Bangalore also came together to talk about what makes the city a hub of talent and innovation, and what needs to be done to overcome the infrastructural challenges. We bring you a glimpse of that discussion from the Bangalore Tech Summit.
I think it's an early start of creating a local
funding ecosystem for our startups also, which is just started happening. But still far away from where we are. I mean, for example, China today is almost self-sufficient in its funding needs.
Yes.
They don't look at the US mostly for funding needs. In fact, US money is competing with Chinese money and losing most of times. Chinese money is now going out of China and coming to India and other countries. And they are investing in technology startups all over the world.
Had people like Chris actually invest into venture funds here and start that in this country.
Yeah, but I think a lot more has to be done. Mr. Premji does some bit of that as well. And Nandan Nilekani does a bit of that as well. So I think it's good, but I think we are far from being self-sufficient in our funding needs. The day we would have arrived would be when our money is not just sufficient for the Indian technology
But we
startup
can
needs,
fund companies.
but we are going and investing in companies in the US, in China, and other places as well.
What do you think, Bhavesh? In terms of
See, I think this ecosystem is evolving very well in the right direction. In fact, there's an example right here. Sachin has supported Ola in our journey, right? And a lot of startups that came after Flipkart look up to Flipkart as an inspiration, and Sachin himself as an inspiration. But like Sachin said, I absolutely agree. The day we will feel satisfied is when Indian money is funding Indian entrepreneurs and actually funding opportunities outside of India, maybe in US, maybe in China, maybe in newer geographies, right? So. And we can see the VC ecosystem in India evolving quickly. We can see the angel ecosystem in India evolving quickly. And all the vectors are in the right direction. We just, all of us would like it to get accelerated even more.
You can't have a session in Bangalore and not crib about some of the problems with the city, right? So what's your pet Bangalore peeve?
I think everybody's pet peeve here will be the traffic.
But I know
that's an opportunity for me.
It's an opportunity for you. That's what
I've converted my pet peeve into an opportunity. And we are nowhere near, thank you. We are nowhere near solving it, and frankly, we can't do it alone. As an ecosystem, to Dheeraj's point, we have to come together to solve it.
So, Bhavesh, a few thoughts on what are a few things that, I mean, you're the mobility guy here. So, what can be done? So, what are a few things that the city can do?
No, actually, the city is already doing some things. It has to scale up those initiatives, right? Shared mobility can be a massive enabler to reducing the number of vehicles on the roads. Bangalore has the country's best bus transit system. People in Bangalore don't realize it, but it's better than Mumbai, it's better than Delhi, it's better than Hyderabad or Chennai. But we have to take it to the next level. When we compare Bangalore's bus system to Beijing's bus system, it's not there. It's a 1/5 in terms of per capita buses to Beijing. So we have to, as a society, as people invested in Bangalore's success, think of the future paradigms, enable market-leading constructs. The government can build platforms where market forces can come to scale up these solutions. And as a population, I think Bangaloreans would adopt shared mobility in a massive way.
Well, I think from a solution standpoint, what I think is missing in Bangalore is that I don't think there is enough empowerment given to the urban development piece. What's happening, I think, is, and what I mean is not the ministry or not the government, but getting some expertise in and letting that expertise actually work on their own. I'm saying this because, let me say this. I've seen Delhi Metro getting built in very close quarters. I really think that, what happened, Dr. Sridharan, who actually happens to be my father-in-law, so
Sridhar? Oh, that's...
Yeah. So I have seen him building that thing in close quarters. What made the difference is that he was completely empowered, right? And if that wouldn't be the case, it wouldn't have happened in the pace and the speed at which, the whole thing worked. And it was, the biggest reason was that. And what we're missing here in Bangalore is, some expert who's brought in here and empowered completely and who looks at it holistically, right? You got to look at the metro, you got to look at the transport system, you got to look at the way, flyovers are built, the way roads are built, and all this, I believe can be looked at holistically by a team. The team is empowered completely to actually run that whole piece. I think this place can change. But if that doesn't happen, I suspect that we will have this problem for a long time to come.
Well, all these entrepreneurs of unicorns, all power-packed on a power-packed panel on one stage. And what are they talking about? Traffic. Only in Bangalore can you expect that. On the other side, we now put Gurugram-based healthcare startup Meadow, who's looking to transform the outpatient care by upgrading standalone clinics. What's the game plan? We asked the founder. Stay tuned. Watching Startup Street. Now co-founded by former Food Panda India executive Saurabh Kochar, Meadow is a Gurugram-based healthcare startup. The platform essentially is an end-to-end aggregated private clinic chain that offers both offline and online healthcare services like doctor appointments, diagnostic tests, and ties all this together on one platform. According to the team, the goal is simple. Meadow is looking towards transforming the outpatient care by upgrading the standalone clinics and converting them into full-service healthcare centers. To talk more about the platform, we are now joined by Saurabh Kochar himself. Saurabh, thank you so much for speaking to us on CNBC-TV18's Startup Street. Now, you set up Meadow in June 2018. Talk to us about your journey and what made you bet on the healthcare space, considering that, you know, the kind of background that you have with Print Venue and Food Panda.
Well, thank you. Well, health was a no-brainer, honestly, because if you think about what are the big spaces which have very little technology that has been used, that are big problems that we still need to be solved, I think health is top of them. I'm actually quite appalled by the fact that India, at our scale and at our stage, we still don't have comprehensive health coverage. You know, most of the, actually almost 80% of the spend is out of pocket. And I think that's something that is not very acceptable to me. So we thought that, you know, why not get in and change it? So yeah, so that's how I got into health. Pretty much doing actually what we did earlier with Food Panda and with Print Venue, which is basically aggregating you know, these setups, bringing in standardization, bringing in quality, and standing for a promise that we definitely change the outpatient care in India.
All right, you raised a pre-series round of funding of around $3 million in September this year. Could you help us understand where you allocated those funds?
Well, multiple things. Like I said, I think number one thing is that first we have to understand how the lay of the land is, right? So 88% of the centers in our country are actually owned by single doctors. What that really means is that there is absolutely no control, there is no use of technology, there is no quality standards. So bulk of what we are going to do over the next year or so is actually going into developing that technology, developing those standards, onboarding clinics, and one of the things that we were very pleasantly surprised by was we finally launched our operations in January this year, and within the 9 months we already have more than 250 centers which have partnered with Meadow, and almost 400 doctors across these 250 centers that we are working with to provide better care. So I think bulk of the money again will go into technology, will go into aggregating and creating the right set of clinics. Yeah.
All right, with this fundraise, Saurabh, you've actually entered the homegrown healthcare startup club that already has players like PharmEasy, 1mg, and Practo. All these folks who've been in the game for way longer than you have been and have much deeper tie-ups with aggregated clinics and diagnostic labs, and also offer on-demand medicine delivery. So while you said healthcare was a no-brainer, what made you think that we need one more player in this mix?
Yeah. Well, I think what we're doing is very different from whether it's a 1mg or it's a PharmEasy, which are dominantly what you can say e-pharmacy players. There is actually nobody who's taking ownership of the entire care process, right? So there's no one who can actually handhold you from the time that you're getting ill till the point that you're getting back on your feet, right? And that's the entire process, that's the entire care process that needs to be taken care of. So what we are doing is creating and taking ownership of the entire process, not solely just appointment booking or just diagnostics or just medicine delivery. I think from a patient's perspective, you have to understand that this guy is already not feeling well, you know. So and then you add 10 more stops to that care process, it's a catastrophe. So what we are focusing on is making sure that the patient gets well. In fact, our motto is that you take rest and we take care of the rest, right? So once you come to a Meadow Center, the only next thing you're doing is going back home. So everything else is taken care of for you, including financing.
All right, that was a smooth plug-in with your tagline right there. Now, last week, a bunch of Indian startups actually met up with Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft and the co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, as he was keen to interact with startups specializing in healthcare, sanitation, agricultural development, and financial services. You were one of the entrepreneurs who met the man himself. Talk to us about the meeting. What were some of the takeaways, and did you manage to strike a partnership with the foundation right there?
Well, I don't think there is a bigger platform. I don't think there is a bigger man that I would much rather be in front of. So I was literally there like a kid in a candy store, absorbing all I could. So things like funding, things like all those things were not even on my mind, honestly, right? So it's literally a dream come true. It's also a dream that I wouldn't have dared to dream. So for me, I think just the validation that that he considers us worthy enough to be in that room, for me, is the biggest thing that I could get out. And I don't think I would ever be as excited in the near term again. So yeah, I think it was the biggest shot in the arm that we could get, and so early into our journey. I think it's fantastic. I don't have better words.
All right, we hope you're able to convert that into some tangible results as well. Now, Saurabh, I must mention this, that I remember first interviewing you way back in 2012 when you were still heading up Print Venue, which was a part of the Rocket Internet Incubator. The German VC firm then went ahead and appointed you as the CEO of Food Panda India in late 2015, which was, of course, later bought out by cab aggregator Ola in 2017. Just to set some context here for viewers who are listening in, Rocket Internet operates on a formula where it copies business models that have been successful in developed countries and brings it to emerging markets like India and appoints its own executives to run this business. We have seen the rise and we have seen the fall of Rocket Internet startup factory in India market. And considering that you've been on the inside of all this, I have to ask you, what were some of the learnings along the way, and the fact that you worked with them so closely? Of course, Rocket Internet has made many exits in India, and it continues to invest here and there in a few startups. But what were some of the learnings for you?
Well, for me, I think everything that I know today is because of the last 6 years that I've spent building Print Venue and building Food Panda. So I owe all that I can execute today to the last 6 years of really learning and being in those situations. So yeah, I think from an investment standpoint, I think yes, it went up and down. I think at some point they did lose interest in running businesses in India because I think the ground realities are very different. I think the other learning was that the gestation period in India is actually far longer than most Western countries and even broader Southeast Asia. So you need to build the business grounds up. You need to build it much longer. Because the talent is widely available. So I think it's just the specific dynamics of the Indian market which is different from what generally is there that Rocket deals with. I think that came out as a shocker. So beyond that, I think it's dominantly the same. Like you said, they do continue to invest in a different strategy now, which they think is more suited to the Indian setup. They want local partners, etc., etc. But I think the opportunity is too big for anybody to miss out. India is the place, outside of US and China, to kind of be in the startup ecosystem.
Okay, just quickly, one word. Do you see Rocket Internet going back to its startup factory model? I know they've scaled down globally, but do you ever see that happening again?
Yeah. Very difficult in India.
Okay. Thanks for the crisp answer right there, Saurabh, and thank you so much for joining us. We will, of course, be watching out for the journey with Meadow right here on CNBC-TV18. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. Many thanks for watching. More news and updates continue on the other side.